Now, there's some emotional consequences when you fall into this victim mentality. Watch this. Watch what he said. For I am poor and needy, and my heart is wounded within me. This is right on the psalm again. I am poor and needy, and my heart is wounded within me. I am gone like a shadow when it declineth. I am tossed up and down as a locust. My knees are weak through fasting, and my heart or my flesh faileth of fatness. I become also a reproach unto them. When they look upon me, they shake their heads. Now watch this. There's four emotional responses or four emotional consequences of the victim mentality. Number one, you get a wounded heart. Somebody that has to develop the victim mentality. A lot of people can be resilient, and they can bounce back and bounce back and bounce back and bounce back. It's like PTSD. You think, well, because somebody was overseas for 3 years, all that 3 years played into their PTSD. Can I tell you something? Not necessarily. It's one event. Just one. Just one. You know, it's like as chaplains, some of the stuff I've seen, I've held people's fingers in my hands and carried them into the emergency room. Their fingers. Okay? I've helped pick them up off the floor, or as a pastor, or help take a loved one out, help the funeral home, pick them up and take them out. And I think about that thing and I say, man, oh man, this place is so heavy. And then the night that I did all that stuff for all these people, then the night my mom was laying on that bed, and the funeral home comes in and zips her in the back. They told us to leave the room, but my sister wouldn't leave. So I said, well, you're not going to stay here by yourself. So I sat there, put my arm around my sister, and I just stood right with her as they put her in the bag, and then they took her out. They used a lot of, they were very professional about this thing and used a lot of honor, but they took my mama and they took her out. That did something to me that nothing else had done. All these people I'd help take out, help put in the bag, and even as an EMT, I'd even put them in the morgue and tag their toes. But none of that affected me like seeing my mama. And then tonight, I sat there with DC and Daniel, and we're sitting there, and Beverly's taking her last breath. And when they take her over, she finally takes her last breath, and the thing goes, and I hear Daniel holler, please, Mama, don't go. Please, Mama, don't go. Something happened in me that will shake me forever. But I refuse to let me become a victim because of this. Instead, I took it and I put it in my mind, I put it in my heart, I give it to God, and I say, God, you help me deal with these things. You help me work through these things so it doesn't keep me down, but it propels me forward. And so, what it did was it actually helped me to be a better minister along the way. So again, you got the choice. You can have all kinds of things happen. All it takes is one event to make you a victim. One event, and all of a sudden you can develop the victim mentality. What happens is you get a deep hurt in your heart. And when I say your heart, of course you think, well, I'm not talking about your physical heart, I'm talking about the seat of your emotions. In the seat of your emotions, you've been hit below the belt, and you've been hit below the belt many, many times before, but that one time, remember, I helped a lot of people as a chaplain, as a pastor, as an EMT. I have dealt with death so long, since in my early 20s. I've worked with death all the way through. But watching my mama in there and them come get her was a whole different thing. It was different entirely. And it made a different impact on me than all these others before. The same way, your seat of your emotions. Something's happened. Maybe it's the last straw. You're already hanging. And somebody does something, and all of a sudden now, you get hurt, and the seat of your emotions gets crushed. And after it gets crushed, then you begin to wonder, can I ever recover from this? Will I ever be normal again? That's a wounded heart. A wounded heart does some other things. We'll talk about that maybe a few weeks down the road about going to the wounded heart. But just remember this. No matter what you've gone through, no matter how bad it seems, no matter how hard it hurts, the Bible tells us that you can recover, you can pick yourself up. I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. We seem to forget that in the beginning, he says, I've been abased, which means I've been to the very bottom, and I know what it's like to abound, to be at the very top. He said, but through it all, I can do all things through Christ Jesus, which strengthens me. In other words, listen, I've been so far down that people wanted to kill me. It looked like I was gone. Or I've been all the way up and people couldn't get enough of me. Either way, I know I can do all things. I'm sufficient for it all through Jesus Christ. I wouldn't be afraid to say this to people here right now, that in some of a different degree, you've got a wounded heart. You can have a wounded heart and not be a victim. You can have a wounded heart and not have a victim mentality. But you can't have a victim mentality without having a wounded heart. That's the difference. There's something that's happened. There's been a specific ordeal that has gone to you. It's hit you in the seat of your emotions. And it's got you so frazzled that you honestly begin to think, am I ever going to be able to wake up happy again? Am I ever going to be able to go out and show my face again? Am I ever going to be able to tell somebody else, hang in there because God's got this? Am I ever going to be able to do that again? Because you got that wounded heart. What happens is once you get the wounded heart, then you start withdrawing. You see, he says, I'm gone like the shadow when it declineth. In other words, that shadow, once it goes down, it's gone. Somebody walks to you, they can be way back there. If the sun hits just right, they look like they're 9 foot tall. The closer they get, they realize they're only whatever tall they are. Once they get to you, you don't see the shadow anymore. But here it is. That's what he's talking about. The psalmist says he is gone like the shadow when it declines. And now, what he's saying is, I'm withdrawing from others. David, the mighty warrior. David, the mighty man. David, who had countless hundreds following him. David, who stood strong in battle, stood strong against Goliath, stood strong many, many times. Because of this, now he's found himself withdrawing. Matter of fact, if you find things that you used to love to do, you don't want to do anymore. Maybe you used to love to go do things with people, and now you don't want to do it anymore. You used to love to get involved in certain activities, but now because people are there, and because you don't want to get hurt again, you won't get involved. See, here it is. Let me ask you this question. Do you ever desire to be alone instead of facing people? Think about it. You ain't got to raise your hand. Don't just think about this. Have you had an emotional withdrawal where you've actually built up walls? And you build up the walls so people cannot get close enough to hurt you again. Wow, that's heavy. Maybe you don't even realize you built that wall, but maybe if you have today, you'll think about that. You build up the wall, so nobody, you're actually inside your emotional seat of emotions is saying, I'm not going to be hurt again. And so you kind of do it like this. People come up to you and you're doing like this, maybe not physically, but you're doing this. And I usually can tell when somebody's got the wall up. I can see it. You can see it. When that wall's up, sometimes it's a minor wall, sometimes it's a major wall. But when they, listen, once they're raw on the inside and they start putting up those walls, watch out. The victim mentality is getting ready to swoop in and take you down. And it's not going to be pleasant at all. For the third thing. Come on here. There you go. The third thing. Whirlwind. He says, I'm tossed up and down as a locust. What does that mean? I'm tossed up and down like a locust. Think about something. Have you seen an elephant blown over? Have you ever seen any wind other than, what kind of wind would it take to blow an elephant over? A big wind. It would take a tornado to blow an elephant over. But how much of a wind does it take to blow a locust? He said, I'm tossed up and down like the locust, the whirlwind has got me. I'm an emotional roller coaster. How many's ever said that? I'm on an emotional roller coaster. When the victim mentality takes over, now you got this emotional roller coaster taking over, and you're happy one minute, sad the next. You're laughing one minute, crying the next. You're having a faith like a grain of mustard seed, and then within just a few minutes, all of a sudden now you think God don't even see you, doesn't hear you, don't even understand. It's sort of like the same thing of a grievance cycle, but you got to know there is a difference. And so here you are. You just can't seem to get control of your emotions. And so here you are now, you're trying to serve God, you're trying to do what God wants you to do, you're trying to be a mighty man or mighty woman of God, but you got a wounded heart. Now you're withdrawing. Now after you withdraw, now it seems like no matter what you do, you're just tossed over by the smallest thing. Have you ever had a relationship with somebody? Maybe it's a co-worker, or maybe a child, or maybe even your spouse, and you can barely say something without saying the wrong thing. You can barely do anything without hurting them. And you're thinking that it's you. Can I tell you this? It's not you. You see, they're in that whirlwind. And while they're in that whirlwind, they're being tossed. The same way, it causes an emotional roller coaster. And then finally, and these are the consequences of a victim mentality. All these together are combined as a victim mentality. And then there's, watch this, you waste away. That's what David said. These are weak through fasting, my flesh filleth with fatness. I've become a reproach unto them. They looked at me, shook their heads. Now, the mighty man of God, David, the mighty giant killer, the man that with his bare hands has killed a lion and a bear. The man who has just won battle after battle after battle after battle, has killed tens of thousands. Everybody's just celebrating him. Now he's wasted away to nothing. You see, he's lost weight. Here's one of the things. You don't necessarily have to lose weight. Sometimes you gain weight. Lose weight, gain weight, either way, but there's also going to be a change in your physical appearance, because you watch. These people will start looking older than they are. These people will start having a bad countenance on their face. They will start looking sad. And if you notice them to be a happy person, and now they're looking sad all the time, watch out. This is going on. So again, it's kind of like a grieving cycle, but it's not a grieving cycle. This is the victim mentality. You got this going on. There's the whirlwind tossed there. There's the wasting away. There's that sudden change in health. And they even said, if they could, they would clean out. They could clean out the majority of the mental warts and a good majority of the health problems in Greenville if people, there's two things they can learn to do. Number one, learn to forgive, learn to move on, and learn how to handle this stuff that comes against them. Because a lot of this stuff, although it's played out physically, it all started emotionally. And this emotion, it'll tear your physical all to pieces. So here it is now. This kind of defeating, don't it? Is there anything else you want to do, Pastor? You want to kick me in the mouth while I'm talking to you? You want to go ahead and just throw a bucket of water out there in the congregation? No, I'm telling you, from here on out it's going to be good. What's the answer?